This is part 2 of the Transformers Legends Godbomber box set. Yesterday we took a look at the action figure and his parts formation. And with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the full-on combination with Super Ginrai and Godbomber equaling out into God Ginrai. And this ought to be fun. So I've already got all the parts set up here. I'm sorry I did not showcase on how to transform Godbomber into certain parts for Super Ginrai's combination. My apologies, I did not want to waste any more time for what the long video this is going to be anyway, so we got a lot to talk about, a lot to go through, some good stuff, some bad stuff. Let's not waste any more time, let's do this, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by working with the forearms. Just make sure I got everything right, so yep. I'm going to fold down this panel here. There's this I don't know how well you're going to see it, but there's this hook right here in the middle of the arm guard, which is going to slot into this hole right here on the side of his arm. And that will pretty much lock everything in place to where I can actually fully assemble his arm in place like so. Get everything tabbed in just right. It should line up. If it doesn't, then that means that one of the panels might be just a little off. Line it up. Should tab right in. Fold this around. This peg is going to tab into this hole right here. Hopefully you are seeing this all on camera. Fold that in. And there's the arm. Well, after I fold that panel back up. So, yeah, he's starting to have stability issues. But then again, Super Ginrai has very weak heel spurs anyway. So, the next portion. What do I want to do next? Do I want to go with the feet or do I want to go ahead and work with the chest? I think I'll start with the chest. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take this bit here. The instructions show that you're supposed to have this separated in order to get this to tab in. It looks like that these are really brittle. They might break over time or start showing stretch marks. You might want to take a little notion of that and be very careful with what you're about to do here. So, get this all lined up. These tabs on the back here of the trailer hitch are going to go into these holes right here, right next to the hooks. You're supposed to get this all lined up. Get the hook lined up like that. Do the same thing here. It's supposed to be like catching underneath and tabbing in at the top at the same time like so. And when that's all accordiated, what you want to do is tab these back pieces right here together. Easier said than done sometimes. There's slots right here on the side that are going to tab in right here. Right here. There we go. You want to hear that nice clicky goodness. So that's basically the upper portion of God Ginrai, and I'll just let him lean back for a moment as I make sure this is all still on camera here because he's about to get really big. Let me raise it up just a little bit. And let's proceed, because now comes the fun part. The P and my A. The feet. First, let's go ahead and flip up his heel spurs as instructed. So they're supposed to create like sort of a brace for the balance of his feet here. So let's go ahead and get this all lined up just right. So okay, this big tab here is going to go into this hole right here. But this hook right here that I'm trying to point at right next to the wheel is actually going to line up right here. And then there's going to be, there's another hook here that actually secures itself right here, right where my middle finger is showcasing. So, yeah, what you want to do is you want to start with that very inward hook, and then it should all line up at the bottom and on the side. Get a very nice click, and that lets you know that you did it right. So there's that. That's one foot. Repeat the same process on this side here. Start with the hook on the inside, make your way at the bottom, and all the way outside to the other side. There's a nice click there. There's only a few more things that really needs to be done here, and that's basically just applying some parts and weapons and accessories. So basically you take the dual cannons for Super Ginrai, and you peg them into the bottom of the feet like that. And take these guns, and actually the instructions showcase that you're supposed to put these on first before putting on the backpack and the chest bit. My mistake. Yeah, this is like, it's a really good idea to put this on first. Again, I apologize. So there's that. Let's go ahead and take the shoulder cannon and tab it in right here on the right side. So there we got that. The last two bits, we'll start off with the helmet here, turn him to the back, and this is going to be one problem as well, because this is not going to hold up too well back here for storage, but there's these two slots right here. They're supposed to peg into these tabs right here on the back of his helmet, and they're supposed to line up. They don't always line up right, and it's not a secure fit. This is not going to hold. It's not well engineered, and it doesn't help that these parts keep coming undone on themselves. Might be my figure. Your results will be different. I'm going to try not to touch that because the very slightest tap can knock it out of place. Intimidating form for the leader of the Autobots. I mean, this is an amazing piece of work. This engineering here is pretty cool. I love this design. I mean, I knew that I was going to love this. I just wish that there were some things that really were looked at maybe just a couple more times before this figure was actually released. Again, I'm sure I got this transformation step by step down right. If not in the right order, I've still got it pretty good. He does not stand really good at all. I mean, as I've shown off before, he has a tendency to fall over on his own weight, and it's unfortunate. And I have done, as many people have told me already in the comments section of those two videos, I have already done everything that needs to be done. As you can see, the red heel spurs are all the way straight up. They're, you know, basically it's like a brace. It's supposed to keep the feet or the ankles in a line just straight up so he will hold his balance. Now, sometimes he does hold his balance just right. Now, I do have to correct myself. I did forget to actually push forward on his Godbomber's legs here. They're supposed to be pushed forward as well as a little more support for the heel spurs here. They're supposed to be like a brace. And, you know, he still leans back quite a bit. It's unfortunate about that. But he is holding pretty good so far. But that's not what's causing the problem. This is not the reason why he keeps falling over on me. Let me go ahead and show you what's really going on here, because it's actually something that Takara should have really saw when they first made this figure. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this panel here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so yeah, we got the support going on here. We got the red heel spur from Super Ginrai, and we got this leg support here from Godbomber. That's keeping this lined up just right, which is good. But the problem lies not there, not where any of these screws are, which you actually see here and down here and one hidden here. No, what the real problem is that unfortunately this hinge right here, this hinge right here where my finger is pointing, hopefully you can see this, right here, where this metal pin is, it's right underneath it. This one hinge is basically what holds this figure up in the right position. And unfortunately, as I have mentioned before in the comments section, there is no locking position for this thing. It is free moving. Now, I have taken a little bit of super glue and dabbed it here and there to, you know, tighten this up just a little bit, because depending on how tough it is or how weak it is, will all measure out in the factor of whether or not this figure will actually stand for you. So anyway, the problem is, with this being a metal pin and not a screw, you cannot tighten this any further without some drastic force. So anyway, as to show you, it still bends. See, that's the problem. That hinge has no locking place, nothing to tab into to stay in place, that if he's not standing just right, it gives out on itself and he just topples over. And it's unfortunate that that is the problem there. Everything else locks in just fine. There's a tab right here that actually slots into this hole right here underneath that hinge that keeps the rest of his ankle aligned just fine. It's just that one hinge joint right there that is just causing the massive problem with this figure's stability issues. And I really don't see any other way outside of like using nail polish or super glue to strengthen the hold of that hinge. I don't see any other way to really correct this inconvenience. I don't know what else to say about this. He is a very, very cool Transformer figure. The combination is freaking awesome. I'd be lying if I didn't say that. But just due to the fact that those two hinges, one being on the left and one being on the right, is what's really killing the balance of this figure. Is really killing the novelty of it for me. I mean, at first it was fun to mess around with, but then now it's just gotten to the point where, you know, this is just an annoyance. I like the figure. No, tell you the truth, I love the figure. I just hate the engineering of the thighs. Or not the thighs, but the ankles. Yeah, the ankles is what's killing it for me. Takara should have really noticed this with Super Ginrai, because this was the whole blueprint. This is what they were going with here. The schematic showed that these feet here, his ankles in the top, these hinges were supposed to support not just his back heel spurs for Super Ginrai, but also these big gigantic feet, and basically what's going on here with all this weight at the upper position of the action figure. It doesn't work. It's just not possible. So yeah, I've done everything that everyone has told me in the comment section about this figure. I've transformed this figure through and through, step by step with the instructions, and there's still no resolution. But let's go ahead and try to get this figure to stand up, if he can, which he will. He will. It just takes a little doing. So, you know, there we go. See? I got my hand behind him. He's not touching the wall. Let's go ahead and do a size comparisons. So I'm going to bring in a beautiful masterpiece that Takara Tomy has released for the Transformers franchise, which is Robots in Disguise. So here is Baldicus, or Ruination, whichever way you want to call him. And these two are about the same height, even if his knees are bending here. They are basically even in scale. Unless you count the wings of God Ginrai, then he does tower over Baldicus. And for one more side-by-side comparisons, here is a knockoff Evasion Mode upgraded and oversized Optimus Prime action figure from Wayne Chain, which I do love. This is truly a masterpiece in its own rights. So there we got that. Let's just put it that way. Lots of colors. I love the transparent window here. The headmaster for Godbomber is inside the chest bit, which I can fold down and show you. So there he is. He's basically taking pilot of God Ginrai, which is pretty cool. So get that line back up and get that tab back into place, because it does come undone sometimes. So, yeah, you do get some play with the shoulder cannon here. You do get some up and down movement. And if you had a tighter hinge, yours would stay in place just fine. He's got his laser guns from Super Ginrai up here for, you know, mounted aerial attacks, I suppose. We got these arm cannons here, which fold out, not too much, but enough to get some clearance here to blast some Decepticons out of the sky. We've got the sword here, which is unfortunately pretty loose-fitting in his hands because the hole is too wide to even hold the handle. But, again, problem solved with a little tab of super glue. Thickening the layer of it worked just good. So, yeah, he's got his ankle cannons here. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if I've given you an overall look at the back of the figure. I'll go ahead and do that. So there you go. There's a nice look at the back of him, so you can see everything that's going on. He's basically kibble free, minus the head storage here for Godbomber. But yeah, I like the overall presence of this figure. The design of it is really, it's cool. I mean, what else can I say about that? I'd be lying if I didn't say that this was an awesome Transformer figure. He is incredible. Both Godbomber and Super Ginrai combined up into God Ginrai is a masterpiece in its own rights. He's loaded with articulation. I mean, it's still the same amount of articulation as Super Ginrai has. There's no hindrance to it whatsoever, which is quite astonishing in its own way. So you still got the swivel head. You still got the hinge joints, or the nice ratcheting joints for the shoulders here. You do get some inward and outward movement. You can flip this panel out of the way and get more movement there. We do have a bicep swivel. We got single jointed elbows that do still get 90 degrees out of these forearm guards, which is amazing. We still got a swivel joint for the hands. Due to transformation, there's no waist joint as always. We do get some leg movement with this much forward, this much back. He just took a shite. It does have a thigh swivel cut there still. It still gets 90 degrees, well, a little less than 90 degrees of play at the knees, but that's still pretty good. And then we get some additional movement with the feet here. We've got some hinge joint for up and down movement, which is pretty good. We do get the ankle rocker pivot. And now we've got some toe articulation. So that's pretty good as well. But, yeah, outside of that, there's not much else to really say about this guy. This is a long review as it is. But he's got his problems. Problems that I'm sure can be fixed if Takara Tomy is willing to do it, or if the customizers out there are willing to do it. I'm sure this would be a really, really nice set to own. Quality set aside from all, let's talk about the price of this. You're spending almost $200 to $250 for two figures that combine into one colossal freaking A masterpiece transformer that's got a little bit of some problems here and there. But if you got the money, then go on, by all means, more power to you. Get this set. It is truly amazing. But Super Ginrai is going up in price now. For all the problems that this figure has, it's not the fault of the action figure. It's the fault of the company for not looking in at what was going to happen later on in the future. They knew that was going to occur. They did nothing about it. It's their fault. You can't blame the figure. I'm not blaming the figure. I think he's amazing and a well-deserved part of everybody's Transformer collection, whether that's Japanese Transformers or American Transformers. We're all just one big Transformers universe. So anyway, questions or comments, you know what to do. Hit it down below in the comment section of this video. Until then, this is your King Red's Power signing off, saying thank you very much for watching.